In the city of Everglow, a peculiar mandate ruled the lives of its citizens. They must always wear a happy face. Failure to comply was met with unspeakable consequences. The decree came from the enigmatic ruler known only as the Smiler, whose face was forever concealed behind a grotesque mask of eternal joy. One such citizen was Elena, whose bright smile hid a soul tormented by fear. Every morning she meticulously painted on her happy face, concealing her true emotions beneath a facade of cheerfulness. But deep within, a gnawing sense of unease festered, a rebellion against the tyranny of enforced happiness. The punishment for defiance was swift and merciless. Those caught without their happy face were subjected to the smile maker, a sinister device designed to carve a permanent grin onto their faces. The victims would wander the streets, their mouths stretched into grotesque smiles, their eyes forever haunted by the agony of their punishment. Elena dared to dream of freedom, of tearing off her painted smile and revealing her true self to the world. But the risk was too great, the consequences too dire, so she continued to wear her mask of happiness, even as it suffocated her spirit. One fateful day, a whisper of rebellion spread through the city, a daring plot to overthrow the Smiler and reclaim their right to feel. Elena hesitated, torn between the safety of conformity and the allure of freedom. In the end, it was her love for her family that spurred her to action. With trembling hands, she peeled away her happy face, revealing the raw anguish beneath. Together with her fellow rebels, she faced the Smiler in a final showdown, determined to shatter the facade of false happiness once and for all. But as they confronted the masked tyrant, they discovered a horrifying truth. The Smiler was not human, but a monstrous entity fueled by the misery of its subjects. With a malevolent grin, it unleashed its wrath upon the rebels, ensnaring them in an endless cycle of torment and despair. Elena realized too late the cost of defiance. As the smile maker bore down upon her, she screamed in agony, her face contorted into a rictus of eternal suffering. And in the streets of Everglow, the sound of her anguish echoed through the night, a chilling reminder of the consequences of wearing a happy face in a world ruled by fear. In the aftermath of the failed rebellion, the grip of the Smiler tightened around Everglow. Fear pervaded every corner, and the once defiant whispers of rebellion fell silent. Elena found herself trapped in a waking nightmare, her face forever frozen in a twisted parody of happiness. The pain of the smile maker's punishment lingered, a constant reminder of her defiance. But even in her darkest moments, a spark of defiance flickered within her. Driven by a newfound determination, Elena sought out the remnants of the resistance, determined to reignite the flames of rebellion. Together they plotted in secret, weaving a web of dissent beneath the watchful gaze of the Smiler. As the days passed, their ranks swelled with disillusioned citizens, each one yearning for freedom from the tyranny of enforced happiness. They trained in the shadows, honing their skills and preparing for the inevitable confrontation with the Smiler. But the Smiler was not idle. It sensed the growing unrest within its domain and unleashed its agents to crush the nascent rebellion. The streets of Everglow became battlegrounds, the air thick with the sounds of conflict and despair. In the heart of the city, Elena and her comrades faced off against the Smiler's forces, their resolve unshakable despite the overwhelming odds. With every blow struck, they drew closer to their goal, to unmask the Smiler and reveal the true face of their oppressor. At last, the decisive moment arrived. In a final, desperate gambit, Elena and her allies stormed the Smiler's stronghold, braving its twisted corridors and facing its monstrous guardians. As they confronted the Smiler atop its throne of lies, the truth was laid bare. Behind the mask of eternal joy lurked a being of unimaginable darkness, feeding off the suffering of its subjects to sustain its unholy reign. But Elena refused to cower in fear. With a defiant cry, she tore off the Smiler's mask, revealing the monstrous visage beneath. In that moment, the spell of fear was broken, and the people of Everglow rose up as one, casting off their masks of false happiness and embracing their true selves. The Smiler's reign of terror was ended, but the scars it left behind would linger for generations. Yet amidst the ruins of their shattered world, hope bloomed once more, a beacon of light in the darkness. And as the sun set over Everglow, Elena stood tall, her face unmasked and her spirit unbroken, ready to face whatever challenges the future may hold. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined them, but the courage to defy it and embrace the light of freedom.